Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the channel, and I am here for a re-review for you guys. Now, for this video, I'm going to be talking about the band Demon Hunter, and I want to talk about Demon Hunter's latest releases once more on this channel, War and Peace, and I want to talk about both albums with you guys, see how well they held up. Are these albums still worth checking out today? If you're new to the band, are these albums worth listening to? So that's all stuff we're going to be talking about. And yeah, so War and Peace, we're going to talk about both of them in this video. So yeah, you guys know that I do have some bias when it comes to Demon Hunter, mainly because they were my introduction to metal and metalcore and whatnot. So it's not like my bias is for no good reason, of course, because I often question myself. Like, would I be able to get into half the metalcore bands that I'm into now if it wasn't for Demon Hunter? That is a good question because I don't know. And, I mean, whether you like it or not, I probably wouldn't even be a metalhead if it wasn't for Demon Hunter. So, there's that. So, Demon Hunter is a band that does mean something to me. I do have some bias and some nostalgia for this band. Now, having nostalgia for a band like Demon Hunter is a little debatable, especially for me since I've only been a fan of the band for about 6 years, but I really had this significant feeling with Demon Hunter whenever I did get into them back in the day, shortly after The Extremist came out. And, I mean, I also take this band seriously because I do think that they're a pretty underrated band. I've always thought that Demon Hunter was a really underrated band. I still think that to this day, but just to a lesser extent than I did back then. So yeah, I definitely had a list a mile long of reasons why I definitely took Demon Hunter very seriously. So before I do dive deep into my thoughts nowadays on War and Peace, the reason I want to do a re-review is because my opinion about these albums nowadays is actually much different than they were when the albums first came out back in 2019. Now, when these albums came out, I thought that they were excellent. I enjoyed the albums, of course, but and that's usually the case with any album by any band you like, really. Of course, when a band you like releases a new album, regardless if it's good or bad, you're going to listen to it a lot. I know that that's happened with me several times with not just Demon Hunter, but other bands as well that I am a big fan of. And then over time, you start to realize, okay, maybe that isn't their best work. You know what I mean? So before I do talk about War and Peace, I do want to talk about the album that came before War and Peace, which was Outlive. Now, I remember when Outlive got announced, I don't ever remember being as excited for an album in my life. And when Outlive came out, I will admit, I listened to it a lot, I thought it was like the greatest thing ever at the time, basically. And it was probably my most listened to album of 2017, to be honest. And I remember maybe about a year or so after the release of Outlive, I was ready to admit that Outlive was not Demon Hunter's best album, not even close. And I also had to really come to a realization that why did I take this band so seriously? I mean, the fanboy in me was really off the charts, when it came to Demon Hunter back in the day, especially even back when Outlive was coming out, because at the time I remember having a severe ignorance towards a lot of great bands just because Demon Hunter was coming out with a new album and nothing could get in the way, in my opinion, at the time. That was like the only thing that was worth a crap. Like, sure, there might be some other good releases, but none of them will be as big as Demon Hunter's latest release. And that's the kind of fanboy that I was. Very optimistic, I just would just listen to whatever the band had to offer. And I remember even at the time, I'd listen to whatever project Ryan Clark had, whether that was Knives, Training for Utopia, etc. I mean, I was basically Ryan Clark's biggest fan at this point. I don't know what it was with me when it came to my bias with Demon Hunter. It really did skyrocket whenever 2016, 2017 came around. Even though I got into the band in 2014, shortly after Extremist. I'm not sure what it was, but I just really went crazy over this band. I don't ever remember going as crazy or as biased about a band in my life. I mean, I wasn't even this way in my Breaking Benjamin fanboy days, to be honest with you guys. But nowadays I've started to realize that, why did I started to question, why did I take this band super seriously like I did? That's something that I ask myself nowadays. Why did I take this band super seriously? Just because of how I felt whenever I got into them? Is that all? Is that the only reason I go crazy over this band? Just because of a past experience? I mean, that just shows how powerful nostalgia it really is, and how I feel like more people should take control of that nostalgia. Because eventually the nostalgia will wear down. Now, nostalgia, not a bad thing, but it should not be a deciding factor of whether or not you want to listen to a band. Because I know that there's some people that, prefer one band over another just because they were a fan of that particular band longer. Screw the objectiveness of the music. All that matters is which one have I been a fan of longer. So that's how powerful nostalgia can be with music. I don't view nostalgia as necessarily a bad thing, but it's more about what you do with your nostalgia is what can make it a bad thing. And so with that being said, the nostalgia with Demon Hunter was still there to a degree, but it's kind of worn off. I was slowly getting to this point with Demon Hunter where I was with Breaking Benjamin. The nostalgia was still there, but it's not something that I take as seriously these days. And I will say that I am this way with Demon Hunter now. The nostalgia is not as high as it was a couple of years ago, or a few years ago, you know what I mean. So, I remember when War and Peace came out, I remember, being excited for these albums like any fan would, because obviously you guys know that, Demon Hunter is a band that I took very seriously, and you know what, I still had good reason to be excited for these albums. And when these albums came out, obviously I enjoyed them, but I'll be honest with you guys, these albums I feel like wore off faster than Outlive even did. Like I said, Outlive was probably my most listened to album at the time in 2017. And I feel like War and Peace have actually dropped off faster for me personally. Now, that's just, my experience. I understand that doesn't go for everyone. Some people might think that War and Peace hold up very well, and that's okay. But you know what I think it is? You know why I think Outlive lasted longer for me than War and Peace did? I think that's because, it's actually for two reasons. For one, Outlive was my first time experiencing that Demon Hunter hype, obviously, because it was my first time experiencing a new Demon Hunter album releasing. And, I feel like when War and Peace came out, it was like, this is exciting, but I've already experienced the hype with the Demon Hunter album, you know what I'm saying? And I think another reason why Outlive lasted longer than War and Peace for me is because, I guess just more based around my thoughts of the band these days. I think it just overall just has to do with me not being that same fan that I was, obviously. Now, I remember in my original review for War and Peace, actually, I saw that Demon Hunter themselves have commented on that video, and I know that they commented on other people's videos related to Demon Hunter at the time, and I remember seeing the notification. I remember it was at night. I was scrolling through the notifications. I saw that Demon Hunter commented on my videos, and I was like, wait, what? Am I seeing this correctly? I was mind blown, for sure. I mean, it really is insane. So that's one of the things I do got to give credit to Demon Hunter. They definitely know how to be somewhat active with the fan base, know how to communicate with their fan base. And that's not something that a lot of metalcore bands do. Now, I know I've heard arguments about, Trivium, being active with their fan base, but come on. I mean, not like the way Demon Hunter is. But that just goes without saying. I mean, it could have to do with Demon Hunter being a much smaller band too, so that's something else too. So these albums, for me personally, don't really hold up that well for me these days. War and Peace, that is. Now, I remember even when Outlive came out, I remember, there were some people that were saying, this album's crap, it's just trash, it's the worst Demon Hunter album. And I remember, of course, being the optimistic fan that I was thinking, well, what's so bad about it? Like, I was really thinking, guys, people are really over-exaggerating. There's people that are, like, overreacting, over-exaggerating, and making this music sound worse than it actually is, basically. Like, come on, guys. I mean, this isn't a complete stretch away from Demon Hunter's previous sound. Like, it doesn't sound that much different than the previous Demon Hunter albums. But then I realize that that's kind of the problem. That's kind of the point, is that the albums can be too similar. Now, Outlive, I would still say, is sort of an experimental album for Demon Hunter, it's at least something different, Sure, it has some of that classic Demon Hunter elements in it. You can definitely hear that classic Demon Hunter sound with certain songs on that album. But I think it's the fact that it's not much different, and that's the problem. And I've realized that that's actually my problem with the album War, to be honest. This album, for me, it's really dropped off for me. I mean, it's really not that enjoyable to listen to for me these days. The album War, to me, just feels like standard metalcore. It just feels like there's just nothing special about it. That's the thing. Now, I know some people might say, oh, well, Lesser Gods, that song was something unique. That was something different for Demon Hunter. Okay, but besides that song, what else is there on the album that's unique? I can wait. I mean, really the only other noteworthy track that I can think of is On My Side, but even that song is, nothing mind-blowing. You know what I mean? Now, I do think that On My Side is a pretty good song. I do like the chorus. I mean, the chorus is obviously something that takes the spotlight here. I think Ryan sounds great in the chorus. But this song does have one big flaw, and that is the guitar work and the riffs. It has this repetitive riff that just goes on and on and on throughout the song. Even in the solo, like in the bridge section. It's the same riff that you got at the beginning, and it goes throughout the song. Nothing changes within the tempos of the guitar work. It's just the same repetitive chugging, basically, and that's one flaw that I got to give it. Now, does the guitar work sound bad? No, but it is a little repetitive. And I can't talk about this album without talking about one of the worst Demon Hunter songs of all time. And I do think that one of the worst Demon Hunter songs are actually on War. And that is the song Unbound. Ouch, I know, you guys are like, how dare you talk bad about that song? That's one of my favorites on War, I know that some people might disagree with me on this, but I'm actually not that crazy about the song Unbound, to be honest. It just feels like a standard mediocre metalcore song. Like, it sounds maybe something like a Killswitch Engage B-side, which, if I wanted to listen to this, I'd just go listen to Killswitch Engage, like a band that makes this kind of music much better, I think. Unbound is just nothing to write home about. I'm not crazy about, the vocals, or the presentation within the vocals, even the lyrics. And the way Ryan Clark screams, Unbound, just constantly. I don't understand the point of that. And that's a complaint that I do have with a lot of metalcore. And a lot of metalcore does kind of fall into this trap where they repeat certain lines or scream certain lines over and over again. And that's something that definitely frustrates me. I don't know how other people feel about that. I know that the band We Came as Romans struggles with this. I mean, way worse. Now, obviously, Demon Hunter doesn't struggle with the repeating the same line over and over thing that severely. Like, We Came as Romans is an example I can think of that is a band that struggles with repeating the same lines over and over as a worse example, I think. And then in Unbound, towards the end, Ryan screams, "No chains!" That's something else that can... I'm not crazy about that part either, and it's just... I don't know. The songwriting just seems kind of lazy in this song. And then you got other songs on the album that I think are decent, like The Negative. I think this is a pretty decent track. It's a song that I used to like, but it's kind of grown off of me, to be honest. Now, the chorus, pretty catchy, and I even like the harsh vocals in this song. And it was a good choice for a single. So, War, I mean, it does have its highlights, but overall, it's nothing to really write home about. But overall, my favorite songs on War would, of course, be On My Side and Lesser Gods. Now, like I said, Lesser Gods is one of the most unique songs and easily the most unique song on the album War itself. Now, I don't know what it is about this song that's just really intriguing, but it's got these riffs that sound like Melodeath, kind of, which I think are pretty cool. I like the guitar work in this song. I even like Ryan's vocals. Yes, that includes the vocal effects that are used in this song. I've seen some people say that they don't like those vocal effects in this song, and that's like the thing that ruins the song for them or whatever. But I don't know. I kind of like that about this song. I just like that it's different. I think that's the reason why I like it. I like it because it's different. And that's something that Demon Hunter just needs to do. They need to do stuff different, okay? Now, obviously, you know, some people might say, oh, well, you know, you get on In Flames for being different, not Melodeath anymore. Correct, but that is a change for the worse. You know, Demon Hunter, they definitely need to step outside of the box, for sure. Yeah, but I like the vocal effects in the song. It sounds like Ryan Clark recorded the song using one of those electronic fans or something and just sang in front of it or something, you know, like, that's what it sounds like to me. But I do like the song, and it's pretty unique, and it's a good album closer. So War, overall, I just think it's a decent album at best, you know. It's not one of Demon Hunter's best. The thing is with War, for me personally, is that if I wanted to listen to a Demon Hunter album like War, I would just go listen to True Defiance or Extremis. Like, if you want to listen to an album that, you know, that is like War, you know, an album that's basically straightforward metalcore, go listen to True Defiance. Like, that album is definitely one of their best. But yeah, War, to me, is just a decent album these days. And then we got to talk about Peace, which is, of course, the more melodic album of the two, and there is basically little to no screaming on this album, or harsh vocals, whatever you want to call it. I can appreciate that Peace is a bit different and experimental. And because of that, nowadays, I do think that Peace is actually maybe a little bit better than War. After all, Peace does feature one of my favorite Demon Hunter songs, and that is Recuse Myself. Man, I don't know what it is about this song, but it has, you know, this, it just has this feeling, this emotional feeling that it just is just spot on. I'm not sure what it is about this song, but it's just very fantastic. I mean, if you're into songs that are more on the atmospheric side, you're gonna definitely dig this song. I like Ryan Clark's vocals, and I like that this is a different sounding song for Demon Hunter. Even when it came out as a single, I was thinking, holy crap, you know. Peace is gonna be a really great album. I mean, I remember thinking that when Recuse Myself came out as a single, and I would say that it's easily my favorite song across both War and Peace. I mean, I think that this song might be as good as some of their previous works, for sure. I just really dig this song. Kind of sounds like Ryan Clark was bringing in some of that Knives influence into Demon Hunter, and maybe, who knows, maybe this was like this song was originally going to be a Knives song, like a B-side, and they just decided to throw it onto a Demon Hunter record. I don't know. It's an interesting concept, though. I do like this song. And there's other songs on the album that are pretty good, like Loneliness. I love Loneliness. I think it might go down as one of their best ballad-like songs, you know? I just really like, well, the chorus is obviously a highlight, but believe it or not, the chorus is actually not the thing that I like most about this song. I think the thing that I like most about this song is really just the song structure itself. I like how it transitions into different parts. Like, you got your acoustic moments, and you got your, you know, there's even a piano section in there. I love how it transitions into all these different sections in this song. I just really dig it, and it's really well done. And I think this song is kind of underrated too. So Loneliness, I think it's one of the best songs on Peace. And then you got other decent tracks on the album as well, such as More Than Bones and When the Devil Come, which are pretty decent. I mean, are they anything to write home about? Not necessarily, but they're decent. So Peace, I like that it's different. I like that it's a different album for them. It's definitely their most mellow sounding album, and again, I like that it's different. So because of that, I might like it just a little bit more than the album War. Now, Peace is still not one of their best albums or anything, but I would say that Peace is probably the best thing that Demon Hunter has done since at least Extremist. But that's not saying much because it's still not even nearly as good as that album. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on War and Peace these days. I think these albums are just pretty decent at best. They're not some of Demon Hunter's best albums. I've seen some people say they're some of their best work, which I don't know where they're coming from with that, because I mean, honestly, would you rather listen to War and Peace than True Defiance or Extremist or The Triptych? Heck, even Summer of Darkness I even think is better. So there you have it, guys. That is my re-review revisiting War and Peace by Demon Hunter. I think these albums are just decent. I mean, if you're a Demon Hunter fan, check out the albums if you haven't already, of course. But if you're looking to get into the band, I would recommend starting off with one of their early albums, like Summer of Darkness or The Triptych, or even True Defiance would be a good start. But these albums, not so much. But there you have it, guys. I'm not going to give these albums a score or anything, but I'll just leave it at that. Thanks for watching, have a nice day, and take care.